Hey friends, welcome back to the Bald Booktuber. Today I have some friends to talk about 12 months. And as you can see from the spoiler crawl down at the bottom, this will be full spoilers. So if you're here, hopefully that means that you're caught up and you can join the conversation with us. Uh, if you're here and you are not caught up, my advice would be to bookmark this and come back when you are. So we don't want to spoil anything. But let's talk to Josh and Madison. We may have others joining, don't know yet. But Madison, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about you, your channel, and what got you into Dresden Files.
Okay, so I'm Madison, and I am the occasional booktuber, apparently. Consistency was never really what I was known for, so like it's on brand for me. But yeah, I took a long break from booktube, and now I'm kind of eking my way back in. I don't have a strong vision or plan for what that looks like, but I miss you guys, and I just want to jump back in. So I really like talking about books. As far as Dresden Files go, my job here today is to represent the Dresden File normies, if that makes sense. So Dresden Files is definitely one of my top 10 fantasy series, I would say. I love it. Like I'm a big fan. But I don't know, since Jake's not here to kind of counteract me, I've only read each book one time. So I started reading them back in 2019, I think,
Mhm.
and I read them not back to back, but I would knock out at least one or two a month, all the way leading up to, Battleground. So that is the last Dresden Files I had read up until this book was 5 years ago when I
Yeah.
read Dresden Files. I could have fit a reread in there, but I didn't. And so this was really, really fun to jump back in because I just blazed through them so fast that it felt like it was always going to be there for me. And then I was left all alone with no Dresden Files for 5 years. So I've been once through on everything, but I'm a huge fan and I love it. And it was my first urban fantasy I ever read, and the concept was just almost a little too cheesy for me to pull off the shelf the first time. But once you get a taste of what it's like, it's just, who wouldn't like this? So I recommend it to everybody. I'm just pretty excited to chit chat about it today.
Awesome. Thank you. And Josh.
So I have also only read them once. So yeah, I haven't reread. I got caught up on the series in I think November or December of last year.
Yeah.
I started probably around the same time you did, Madison, I spread it out and I almost DNF'd the series 3 times.
Ooh.
Book one, I punted for a long time. Book two, I was gone for well over a year. I stand by that. Book two is just a lousy book. But then I almost quit after Proven Guilty as well. So those are kind of 3 times I almost jumped off of the series. But the highs were outweighing the lows for me. And then last year I started doing some of them by audiobook, and James
Mhm.
Marsters is incredible.
Elite.
Just like maybe the best audiobook narrator that I've listened to. I'm not an expert or anything, but he is just fantastic in this series. And I think I'd have to go back, but I think I've read about half of them with my eyes and half of them I've listened to. So
Mhm.
I have kind of a mixture of all of it. But last year I really got into it, and I think I did the last 7 last year, and then got
Nice.
caught up. And then 12 months, it was basically a release day read for me. And I read that one on my Kindle, so I didn't do audio on this one. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm at the point I love the series, and it's probably a top 10 series for me as well.
Beautiful.
I think it still has its flaws, and it still has things that make me a little hesitant to necessarily recommend it at times. But the we'll talk about it more specifically with this book, but I
Uh-huh.
feel like Butcher's writing has just continually leveled up in this series.
Yeah, I would
And
agree.
this book, I thought his writing was on a totally different level
Mm.
than anything that preceded it.
Cool. Well, I am not a normie, I guess. I've been a fanatic for this thing for many years. Going way back when I was waiting for George R. R. Martin to release books, I spent the time I wasn't reading his books on his website, having him recommend authors for me. And this was one of many authors that I came upon because of Gurm, along with uh, Robin Hobb, Joe Abercrombie and countless others. So he said, check out this Butcher guy. And I said, all right. So this would have been around 2002 or 2003. And so I read Stormfront, Full Moon, and Grave Peril. I think all three were out right around that time. I was like, yeah, it's all right. It's good. But then I got to Summer Night, and I've been hooked since that. That was really, that was the one that did it for me. I don't know why, but that particular uh, flavor of Dresden is my favorite. The Fae is my favorite part of the entire series. So that's when I became hooked. It was also around that time I got into audiobooks. So I've listened to these multiple times each. I actually went back through and did a full reread / re-listen last year for everything, including the collections, which I really like the short stories as well. So, which is not to say I will remember any of the finer details because I don't always remember everything. But I really enjoyed my reread, and I am very excited to chat through it with two people that have it in their top 10 as well. That is very exciting. Awesome. So, next question for each of you would be kind of the state you were in coming into the series, kind of how you were feeling after Battleground. How would you rank Battleground as a book in the series, and how were you feeling leading up to 12 months?
So I was mostly just like, of course, in my head, I remember the battle. I remember the story.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the events that led up to it. I remember, who died. I remember the devastation. But there were a lot of details that I was just like, I really hope that Jim gives us a solid recap. And I love the way he naturally recapped throughout the book.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I appreciate just like a 2-page, like, hey, by the way, here's everything you missed. Sometimes that works, and I like that too. But what I really love is when an author can naturally recap, and it never
Mm-hmm.
feels info dumpy or awkward or clunky. And I thought it was almost just brilliant in this book how
Yeah.
seamlessly he was able to remind the listener, like, hey, listen, I know everyone didn't reread it, and it's been 5 years, so I'm going to throw you some bones, but it didn't feel clunky. So I
Yeah.
was kind of relieved because I mean, Scott knows we started reading and I was like, who's Fitz? And then it didn't take long though before I mean
Yeah.
he basically said, just trust Jim, he'll remind you. And then within a couple more chapters, I was like, oh yeah. I remember Ghost Story. I kind of forgot about that book for a minute. So at first I was like, oh shoot, I'm not ready. I gotta go back. But no. Like trust in Jim. Like he'll take care of you. I was really excited to get back to it. And I'm sure we'll kind of get more into like how this book was formatted and just like what we thought in general. But this book was like, I don't know, as especially somebody who just has been I've been dealing with my own real life grief in the meantime
Mm-hmm.
between Battleground and now.
Yeah.
And I just so appreciated the way Jim handled this book because this book is about Harry's grief. It's
Right.
about him needing time, him needing to pause and just figure out like what does my life look like moving forward? Like after this massive trauma and after Murphy, like what do I do? And it could have been slow, it could have been boring, it could have been clunky, but I just thought the entire book was just stunning. And I
Yeah.
loved the conversations. Like these
Really good.
conversations, like each one, I was just like, where's an award I can give to this scene? Because the quiet moments, the conversations, the connections, the reunions, every single one of them was just like, damn, he's good. And then we had some intense scenarios. We got new characters. Like it gave me a little bit of everything, but it
Yeah.
definitely felt like a bridge book. And I think sometimes that term is used to kind of be like, ah, it's a throwaway, but man, it was just so necessary after Battleground. But I do think after waiting 5 years, it's kind of like, is the next one coming out like tomorrow though? Because we needed the bridge book. Every single word in it was necessary, and I'm glad we got it. But I'm like, so what's the next case gonna be? We didn't get a case file, but man, like I said, there wasn't a wasted page or character interaction or conversation. I thought it was just awesome.
Yeah.
And my favorite new characters are obviously the gargoyles. Like that's just like stole the show. I thought that was awesome. So anyway, I'm rambling. Go ahead.
Spice Goils.
Too
Go ahead,
good.
Josh.
So you had like asked going in, like I didn't have the big break like Madison. So like everything was very fresh in my mind. But I mean, it leads me to just think about one of the things that I've really loved about the series, even when I was still kind of on the fence with the series, is I feel that Butcher's world building has been very purposeful, where he gave you, especially early on, like he gave you, like you said, the fourth book with the Fae is what hooked you. Well, the third book was the vampires. The second book was the werewolves, and it just kept layering, and he kept adding just all of these details. You know, we finally got a White Council book in there, and for me, that's what one of the things I initially loved most about the series was the way that he was very deliberate. But it seemed at first, when I was first reading it, I was like, he's bouncing around, and then I realized what he was doing. I was like, no, he's got a vision here, and that's what I really loved initially. As far as Battleground, I was a little lower on the book than a lot of people. I think a lot of people put it as an S tier book. I think both it and Peace Talks were hurt by the fact that they were currently, they were supposed to be one book, and then they split them. And for me, Battleground, because it was basically one huge drawn out battle, it felt a little exhausting to me, to be honest. So I figured, at the end of any of the big events, like right after Changes is probably the other significant big event in this series. There's always, the next book is always a bit different and a bit kind of take a step back, a little less action oriented. And of course, after Changes, we got Ghost Story, which was very, very different. And I think it's pretty cool that we do have Fitz in Ghost Story, and now we do see him. So there's like even a little parallel there. But with Battleground, I knew it was going to, coming out of that things would be changing. But I honestly didn't. I mean, the title 12 months gives you an idea what it's about. And we thought, the 12 months obviously was also the time that he had until he had to marry Lara. But I honestly, I didn't know that Butcher could write it as well as he did. I was impressed with the time jumps, how smooth they were. And I loved, I'm sure we'll talk about the grief aspect a little more detail, but I loved how it was real, because, all of us that have lost people that are close to us, your healing's not linear, and, it's up and down, and he would get better and then he would slide back. And you saw this. I really love the human side of Harry that we saw in this book. Yeah, I think it would have been really easy for Butcher to just write, Harry's in a dark place and he's going to do a lot of dark things. And that really wasn't the case. He was in a dark place, but, he just kind of pushed through it with the help of all of his friends, which we'll talk about that. Like some of those conversations, I mean, just tears.
Yeah.
They were so well written. But so going in, I knew it was going to be a little bit different, but I honestly didn't see it being this different. And I also didn't see, honestly, I didn't know Butcher had a book like this in him, because I think there's some recency bias, but this might be the best book in the series.
Thanks. So I'm one of those sickos that the Battleground is my favorite book in the whole series. So it's not a secret to anyone that I have interacted with that Karen Murphy is my favorite character in the whole series, and always has been pretty much, which is why I rate Full Moon the lowest, other than it's not great on a lot of levels. I don't like her interactions with Harry in that book specifically, but I just love her. She's the best. And so I was a mess on the release of Battleground Day. I was not in a good place, and I hadn't reread it up until here in December or whenever I reread it. And I was reluctant to go through those chapters again. It was very tough. So that was rough for me. I don't usually get too attached when it comes to fictional characters, but for whatever reason, Karen's the best. So I had a tough time with that. I was nervous about this book coming in. I didn't know, with the long layoff and the fact that Lara's a character that I'm kind of invested in coming into this, but not really. Like, there was a lot that I was worried about. The fact that it was, as Madison said, a bridge book, I was nervous about that. I know that he had done quite a bit of work on Mirror Mirror, which is going to be our next book, and put it aside, knowing that this book needed to take place in between. So, like, there was a lot there that made me very reluctant. Obviously, I was going to read it on release day, but reluctant in the sense that I didn't want the series to start to dip after, in my mind, it was just up and up and up. So, safe to say, this immediately became a top 5 in the series for me. So I totally understand what you're saying there, Josh, about it being maybe the best book. Just incredible. In addition to just the interactions with his friends, the fact that he's got Maggie there is sort of the cornerstone around everything, and the reason why he wants to be a good person. Like that, just Harry as a dad is just something that I love. So we could talk in more depth, obviously, and I hope we will. But yeah, safe to say, we went from I was a miserable wreck and worried that I would hate this book to it just ties everything off and it's great. So I hope everybody in the chat that is caught up loved it as well. But if you didn't, it's okay to throw those comments in as well. But
so Scott, did you think going into Battleground? I knew at some point in the series that Karen was going to die. I just knew that was going to happen. But I didn't. I was shocked when it happened in Battleground. Were you kind of similar with that?
Yeah. So I for both Peace Talks and Battleground, I took those days off work so that I could just binge them. And like with a series this sprawling, you know that not everybody's going to be safe, and that's fine. I assumed, because of kind of the way that she was just pedal to the metal and doing everything she could to be part of this, I assumed she would make it through this. I didn't know whether she would make it all the way. Like, it's obvious in hindsight, and even Butcher has said specifically that he knew probably 5 or 6 books ago, maybe longer than that there was going to be a point where he would kill her off. But I was very shocked at that moment, and I was shocked in the fashion that it happened, because it wasn't some epic conclusion. It was that asshole Rudolph that we all hate having his gun go off accidentally. So I know Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative, who I love her reviews and stuff, she hates Battleground because of that moment, which I understand. That makes sense to me. I don't share that feeling, but I understand why she feels that way. So, yeah. I don't know.
I just knew that once, because things were finally starting to go the way Harry wanted with him and Murphy, and things were really getting like healthy and real, I was just like, oh, she's a goner. Harry can't have nice things.
And it was very interesting to hear, and I know Zin's in the chat and he's talking about Mab. I wouldn't have put together. I thought it was interesting, the reveal that Mab was the one that gave her the strength and the courage and the willpower in Battleground during the battle to, do what she needed to do when Harry said stay out of everything and rest up, right? So I thought that was a really cool reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Mab's such a fascinating character.
Yes.
And I think we did get a lot of her in Peace Talks and Battleground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's one of those, like, just Harry being Harry, he's always, foot in mouth. And I just love how she's just able to so easily put him in his place. She's such a good foil for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of the characters are good at that. When Harry, like in this book, when Harry is, the talk with Michael for me is those are the best
so
scenes
good
in the series for me.
Yes.
And because Michael always just points out how he's just he is too egocentric with so many things, like even his own healing. He's too egocentric with it, and Michael can always put him in his place. But yeah, I always love how Mab, because Harry will stand up to her and she kind of likes that. She likes that part of him, but then when he crosses the line, she's just like,
Let's not forget who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
The terrifying part, I think, is Mother Winter, who always just scares the hell right out of me. So, the one part Mab is like, "I'm going to torture you, and if I need any advice or any tips, I'll just talk to mommy." Scary stuff.
Well, and
I
getting
know
to
this
see
book.
her as well, that was cool.
Yeah.
I said this book
And
does a good job of reminding you that like all of the big bads, there's someone above them that's bigger and badder, and you
yeah,
should be really scared.
that's one of the other things I really like. I mentioned how I like the world building, how it's, so layered. I love that Butcher just the way he handles all the secondary characters. They're
Mhm,
only there when they need to be there.
mhm.
So many other, I think, lesser series or lesser authors would try to include them almost all the time, even if they're
Mhm.
Yeah.
barely important or not important. Because you have characters that'll disappear for many books. Well, like Fitz is a perfect example
Yeah.
from book 13 to book 18. He's gone for all of that time.
Right.
So I do enjoy how he does that. He only brings the characters in when they're needed and when they're integral to the story. And like you said at the very beginning, Madison, he is so good about catching you up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like last year I read like the last 7, but there were like callbacks. Like the first time some of the werewolves came up, I'd forgotten them because it'd been so long. Like, oh, okay. And when Billy turned into Will, like that confused the hell out of me. But I like how well he's able to just kind of catch you up with characters that you haven't seen for several books.
Yeah, it's interesting. So when I was first reading them through, I would get annoyed at the when he would do the recaps and stuff. But now, since I'm old and can't remember stuff, I'm like, "Thanks, Jim.
It's
I
true.
appreciate you keeping me up to date on what's going on here." Yeah, Fitz is a character. You could have given me 1,000 guesses about a guy that would show up in this book, and
Yeah.
I I love the Ghost Story more than most people. I think in terms of in terms of the series ranking, and I couldn't remember the dude's name without looking it up. Like he
Even though
was
his
a
name was Fitz.
non-factor even in that book.
I
Yeah,
know I do love
even
the Fitz character, but
yes, yeah. At
but
first, I'm
he's so
like,
good
is it
at
is it?
like these bridge books. I mean, I think I would call Ghost Story somewhat of a bridge book as well. And
Mhm,
I see that to me is where I like to sit because it's definitely not cozy, but it does offer quite a bit of slice of life. And
yeah,
it offers like those quiet moments in between the action, and that's where we get those conversations. And
mhm,
that is just where Jim Butcher goes from being like, oh, he's so cool and he's funny, and it's like Harry has great dialogue and so much action. And yes, those are the things that we think of first when we think of Dresden Files. But
yeah,
where he shines and it goes from being like cool to brilliant are these quiet moments. And each book has a spattering of them. Some books will have 1 or 2 moments, some will have 4 or 5, but that's why I really liked this book is it was almost more like a spattering of the action, and the whole book was these moments of Jim just like, the meme where the keyboard's on fire. Like I felt like that's what he was like when he was writing. And clearly this man was going through his own life
mhm,
changes, grief, like sitting with some really heavy stuff. And I appreciate that. I mean, of course, 5 years is a long time to wait, but it clearly was worth it because he
mhm,
just did. I mean, whether it's your favorite book or not, that's completely opinion. But I don't think it
sure,
is very subjective that this is the best book as far as writing goes. So
yeah,
I thought
that's
it was
true.
just really special. And honestly, like I would read it again right now because there were so many. I listened to the whole thing on audio because I'm audiobook girl, but also James Marsters. Like I can't resist. But as
Second
soon
to
as I
none.
was reading it, I was like, I wish I was reading this on Kindle because I would be highlighting the shit out of this. There were just so many passages that just really spoke to me. Or I thought, that is a feeling that I've never been able to put into words. And man, that was just so eloquent. And that really resonated with me. So I would love to do it again on Kindle so I could really get to highlighting.
This is why I immersively read because I get the benefit of the audio
Mhm.
and I have a ton of Kindle highlights. So doing them both at the same time is very good.
That's
I
hard to do
think
when you're
when I
driving,
think
though.
when I reread, I'm
It's
going to do
true.
yeah, I think when I reread, I'm going to do the opposite. So the ones that I did audio, I'm going to read, and the ones I did
Mhm.
read,
Smart.
I'm going to do the audio. And because I'm sure whenever the next one comes out, I'm probably going to be one of those that'll reread the whole series right before it. But especially if he
It'd be
takes a
interesting.
while. But
I'd be
Yeah, I'd
interested
love
to
to.
see how some of them hit. Before Peace
yeah,
Talks, I didn't do a full reread, but I started with Changes and went up to Skin Game, and then did it through there. So I hadn't done a read through of a lot of these books in a long time. So a lot of these were um, not fresh, as it
yeah,
were.
yeah.
So I'm surprised you didn't like Proven Guilty. I'll have to think through what it was about that book that didn't hit
The,
for
the
you.
the scene at the end was horrible. Should have been cut.
Okay,
Um, and
Trying to
then
remember.
I thought it was peak Harry male gaze,
it's
and
probably true.
I feel like he was crossing lines in that book that he didn't need to be crossing, and it.
Oh, is that the scene
Um,
with Mal? I know what
yeah,
you're
that's the
talking
scene
about.
with Molly at the end of the book, and that was the worst part of it. I mean, that was one had it. I was Kindle, like I would have, if it were a paperback, I would have thrown it across the room.
I know what you're talking
But
about. Yeah.
I talked about this in my, I don't know, a video recently, and I said, Dresden, there's like a spectrum with Harry's male gaze, and most of the time it's kind of the like I roll my eyes, okay, Harry, we get it, she's gorgeous, you're checking her out, whatever. But there's times in the series where he crosses the line. Like for me, like Michael's his best friend. Like you don't check out your best friend's wife, and you definitely don't check out your best friend's daughter.
No, that's
And
true. I
that's
agree.
for me and Proven Guilty that I felt that he was far over the line there. And that's why I almost dumped the series again at that point. But it's
You-
been, I mean, that's been the worst, and it's been toned down quite a bit after that. I think he probably got a bit of a bit of feedback as far as that's concerned, because it has
Yeah.
been toned down quite a bit after that. But
I think one
yeah,
of the things I really liked about 12 Months is the interactions with Molly.
yeah,
And I thought there were some really good callbacks to Ghost Story, especially when she was dealing with the trauma and the
yes,
PTSD
Yeah.
in the wake of his death. So I thought that stuff was unbelievably good.
Yes.
And I love Molly as a character, so
I do too. I
that stuff
really
was great.
I didn't like her at first, but she's become a favorite now,
Yeah.
and
I'm a
yeah,
big Molly fan.
that's
I'm a big
happened over the
Carpenter
last few
family in
books.
general fan.
Yeah,
So I love that he wrote a character that's like sometimes when you have really strict Christian parents, you might get a little bit of a rebel as a daughter, but like they really tied it in. Like I mean, just like again, it's one of those scenarios that if you had told me where this character was going to end up when she was first introduced, I would have been like, no way. How could you possibly make a leap that far? But I've really enjoyed watching her turn into, you know, the badass she is. She's so cool.
yeah. That comment Ian had there is so true. How she kind of mentored Harry because, like you said,
Mhm.
Scott, he was going through something similar that she was going through in Ghost Story,
Hmm.
and I loved just he got so much support from so many different people in this book. Um, I mean, you expect it from Michael, but when you start seeing
Sure.
so many other characters that are just there helping him, like his new Valkyrie bodyguard, where
Bear is
at
awesome.
one point
I
she was
loved her.
just like, man up, but just seeing all the people kind of helping him through the grief was so good. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madison, you mentioned the writing, and I mean, halfway through this book, I was just like, this is like a borderline literary novel here. I think that his handling with Harry's grief was just, I mean, it was nuanced and it was real and it felt earned. And I mentioned before, I loved how just the realism of it, because we all know it's not, you don't just, every day isn't a better day,
Right.
the trajectory gets better, but like you're going to have bad days and you're going to backslide and all of that. So I thought just his writing in this book about grief was
Mm,
just top tier.
yeah.
And honestly, I didn't think he had it in him. I mean, I was just so impressed with it.
Yeah. And I want to talk what Ian just said there. I
Yeah.
thought it really broke my heart that everyone needed to convince Harry that he's a good person. And it
Mhm.
reminds me, and it reminds all of us how much of himself that Harry has had to sacrifice for the greater
Mhm.
good. And it has come at a huge cost because he has crossed lines that he wouldn't have crossed in book one. He has made deals, he has made arrangements and swaps, and he has done things that have ripped little pieces of his soul away bit by bit.
Hmm.
And it's not just the grief of what happened to Chicago and losing uh, Murphy and everything. It's the fact that he doesn't believe that he is worthy of all the support that he's getting and the love. And I love how each character in their own way had to say, "Don't forget who you are, Harry. You're a good person. The reason you do everything you do is for other people." So it was just it helped him to remember remember who you are, Harry. Like, yes, you've made some horrible choices, but it was always for those that you love. And just his bros and his homies, they build him up in one way, and then his gal pals, they build him up in another way, and then of course there's Maggie, and like it was just beautiful to see that, like you said, everyone shows up for Harry when he needs him, and they show up for him because he's a good person, they love him, and they believe in him. And it's just
Yeah.
sad to me that he needs to be he doesn't believe that about himself.
Well, a certain part of him is always going to be at Chichen Itza murdering Susan.
Yes.
So a certain part of him is never going to be able to forgive himself for that, which makes a lot of sense. So he did
Hmm.
it to save Maggie,
Yeah.
obviously, and there were a lot of reasons for it, but it's still, in his mind, it was a horrible choice that he made. So
Yeah.
uh, that's always going to flavor how he thinks about himself, which I
And
understand.
and I think also it being a first person narrative, the way that you can really understand the character is seeing how the people around him treat the character.
Mhm.
So when you see a Michael Carpenter, treat him with, such love and care, and you're a good person, then that Harry's a good person, because
Yep.
we never know when someone's narrating something.
Hmm.
They can be reliable or not, but it's seeing the other characters, seeing Harry through their eyes, even though it's still a first person narrative. That's when you truly get the essence of the character.
Yeah. And you get in this book, you get a lot of um oh, Harry, like, you didn't have to do this for us. You didn't have to do this for me. You really went the extra mile. And he's going, well, that doesn't make me a good person. That's just what someone should do. And they're going, no, that's what makes you a good person, is that you didn't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to do that. And you did. And
He's a
he's
little
just,
thick sometimes.
yeah.
It is true.
And it just
No,
goes to
that's
show how much good you can do, even when you're broken. Like, even when you are in the depths of the pits of hell yourself, you can still be a force for good. You can still be a positive influence. You can still help people. So it's a good book.
I was also really happy to see a reconciliation with Ebenezer. That was good.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was
That
special.
was that was tough in Peace Talks and Battleground, where the two of them were
And I'm
not
like, Grandpa.
Yeah, it
seeing
was.
eye to eye. I've been a big Blackstaff fans again since Summer Nights, so I love Ebenezer. So when they're not on the same page, I think it's really good writing. I also think it hurts my heart a little bit because I want the two of them to be on the same page. So
Same.
good question from Ian. Has all of the good comments and questions. So uh, this is number 5 for me. I have above it Battleground, Changes, Cold Days, and Skin Game. So those are my top 5.
See, I've never actually ranked them, but I think off the top of my head, I would probably put it top 3 for sure.
Excellent.
I mean, and honestly, if I really sat down and thought about it, it might be my favorite. Like, I can't tell if it's recency bias or just the fact
Sure.
that it really is like kind of custom made for the type of book I like. So maybe it is my favorite, but because I just read it, I'm hesitant to just like call it. But I would say easily top 3.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think my ranking's the same as Madison's. Yeah, I think it's top 3 for me. With Changes is my favorite right now, but
Mhm.
yeah, I don't want to proclaim it. Like, recency bias is definitely a thing, but yeah,
It's hard for me to
it's
ever
definitely
let
S
go of
tier
Deadbeat
Dresden.
because I just loved that book so stinking much. But that was for different reasons. Like, I had the most
Yeah.
fun with that book that I've had. Like, and again, like I said, I read these books so long ago that it was a kind of
Mhm.
the beginning of my like, what even is like, what all options do I have with fantasy books? And so I just didn't know you could have that much fun with a fantasy book. There's no rules. You can do anything you want. And that's when I really became like a super fan of the series. So like it's special to me, but this book is better. Like
Yeah.
objectively, this is a better book. It was so good. So yeah,
Yeah.
top 3 for sure.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely S
Ian
tier,
says
Dresden.
for him as well. Need to think about a bit more. Awesome.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen many bad reviews. It seems like everybody's loving it that I've seen.
I think so. Yeah, I saw Leslie had it as a 4-star, and I think part of that is still a little bit of hangover from not enjoying Battleground, which is fine.
Yeah.
But she also said she really enjoyed it. I haven't gone through and watched everybody's. I saw the screen cap. Daniel said that it's weird but good. So I haven't watched that video yet, so I don't know what he thinks. Murphy had a big smile on her face, so I'm assuming she liked it.
Yeah.
But just in general, from what I'm seeing, I do tend to agree, and it does feel like it was worth the wait.
Yeah.
This is a good question here. Murphy's Shade. I did want to talk about this. Yes. So I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll go.
I will say that like maybe I just wasn't being a very perceptive reader at the time, but like it took me a while. It wasn't until they explicitly said like I am summoning and speaking to Murphy's Shade that I was like, okay, I kind of thought you were just like going a little crazy, which is understandable. Um, but no, I when I realized that he was literally summoning her shade, I was just like, that's way sadder than I thought it was going to be. That
Yep.
Yeah.
that's hard because he knows with his whole heart this is not Murphy. But it's like, oh man, just clinging on to just any remnant he can is just so sad.
See, I picked up on it early, but I didn't know that he was actually summoning. I thought maybe he was just talking to her shade. But I did like how the way it evolved and then the way it ultimately ended, where he finally realized that he was ready to kind of move on. And I did also like how after, it wasn't the last interaction, but one of the ones towards the end where, the shade even said, like, I'm not her.
Yeah.
So because I think that was an important step even for Harry just to finally confront that part of it as well, as he's, just trying to, let go and move forward. Yeah, it's interesting because again, I'm impressed with the realism and the nuance of this book. That's the two things, because Butcher could have gone so over the top with even that plot device. Had Harry just been addicted to talking to the shade or whatever. I mean, he could have gone super dark. He could have gone over the top with the grieving and everything. But I just thought it was just, I don't know. It was so subtle at times. And again, it just felt real. And I think the time jumps actually helped that part of it as well.
Yep.
How it would be a month later or a couple weeks later or whatever. Yeah, that was a really interesting. That's my thing about this world's so big. Like, he has so many choices of what he can do to put into a story. So it's always so interesting to see what he decides to do.
Yeah.
And it's impressive when they, like you said, when you have too many options. Like, he could have gone about 50 different ways. The fact that he went the right way and like really just wrote kind of a masterpiece is just like, that just shows so much precision and discernment. Like, I just love that because, like I said, it could have been any type of book. It could have been dark, it could have been zany, it could have been like, I don't know, but like the fact that he said, no, we're going to do this the right way. And the time jumps almost add to the book because there are phases in a grief process that you're like, what happened? Nothing. I just existed. Time moved forward. I did not. There's nothing to tell. And it almost was like, it just like, I didn't need a chapter for every book because some of it's just like, what did I do? I ate, I slept, I went through the motions. Like, there's nothing to tell.
Yeah, so I picked up right away that he was talking to Murphy. It was interesting on one of the discords I was on. People were like saying, "Who's he talking? Is Bear playing Monopoly with him?" I'm like, "No, that's Murphy." But I didn't put two and two together until he told us that it was her shade and not some figment of his imagination. Because so many people, as part of the grieving process, still, talk to their loved one. And I just assumed that's what that was. So, but Josh is so right when she said, I'm not her, right? Like that, just ton of bricks. That hit really hard. That was tough. She's like, I'll be here for you if you need me, but I'm not her. So, yeah. And I think this is a great point here by Jan Solo. Her character voice is so distinct. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
So Zen thought he was dreaming or something, and then backtracked, second guessed himself. It turned out mostly right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's yeah. The good news is we should get Mirror much sooner. He's at least a third of the way through the writing already, and he expects to complete it this year yet. So
that's great.
Cool.
He wants to get back to 2 books a year if he can, and he'll be interlacing Dresden Files with Cinder Spires, which I haven't read yet. Josh, you've read Cinder Spires, right?
I read the first one, and then the second one came out, and I didn't feel the desire to read the second one.
I'm kind of hesitant to go outside of Dresden Files because Codex Alera let me down so much that it was to me, it was just like the definition of just kind of unimpressive. It was just kind of mid, and his voice wasn't there. Like I expected it to be able to be like, oh, you can tell Jim Butcher is writing this. You cannot. And that just really threw me off. So I haven't tried Cinder Spires yet, but I mean, it's hard not to have a lot of trust in somebody that's taken you this far with one project, but I'm a little on the fence about whether I'm going to just keep trying his other stuff or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not super into airships and that kind of stuff, so it never really drew me. But at some point I will try it. I did. I read like the first few pages just to see the character voice and stuff, and I'm like, I got other stuff, so I'll get back to it at some point, maybe. Have either of you read The Law? It's the novella that takes place in between. It's pretty good.
I haven't. Yeah, I have it on audio. I just haven't listened yet.
I read it in Mexico when Matt and I went, and that was in like 2022. So again, that's been a while, but it was a new release when I read it. And I remember really enjoying it, but if I'm being honest, I don't remember a ton about what actually happened because I was probably drunk. I was drinking mimosas nonstop. So this is great.
It's just kind of fun. Dresden helping a damsel in distress. So it's a very minor case that some big players take part in. But ultimately, I think the way Jake summarized it on Goodreads is Harry triumphing over the forces of stupidity. So the bad guys are really dumb in this book, which is
nice.
Sort of
That's
comedic
fun sometimes.
Yeah, I haven't read that, or I haven't read Briefcases either. I read the first short story collection, but I got that so that I have something in reserve since I have to wait now, since I didn't really have to wait for this release. So
Briefcases is fun. There is a scene specifically in 12 Months where if you had read Briefcases, it would have hit a little bit harder. And I won't tell you what that is, but it's an interaction between 2 characters that we know well. And there's a really good story involving the 2 of them. So if you get to it, let me know if you see the connection and what that is. But Side Jobs has my probably favorite piece of Butcher writing, which is The Warrior. That has always been
that's
my
the Murphy.
favorite.
That's the Murphy novella, right?
No, it's the Michael story.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I did like the Murphy. That was called Aftermath. I remember that one.
That's good
that
too.
One was good too. Yeah.
Yeah, Aftermath is good too. That takes place right after Changes, so that's good too. Let's see. You say Briefcases for a few years. Okay. To get through it somehow. Yep.
So let me ask the 2 of you. I feel we've been talking about this on the Discord a little bit because a few of us feel the same way that one of the biggest scene stealers in the last couple books is Dracul.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very curious. Just like Mab is a scene stealer as well, but like Dracul is like on another level, and I'm really, really interested to see what's going on with that.
I gotta believe he's gonna play a pretty big part in these upcoming books.
It seems like it, and because we haven't explored the whole Starborn thing yet either. So
Right.
Yeah, I
I
feel like between
know.
the vampire courts, it's really gonna pop off in the next arc of the story for sure. I mean, just everything that's being built up with Lara's power and her position and everything with Thomas. Like, I have a feeling he's gonna come back bigger and better with a really like pointed like motivation and like yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like we're about to get some really cool vampire storylines.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about
Thomas.
Mab
or
taking
Lara.
Thomas's kid from him.
Yeah.
That's not gonna go well. I don't think Thomas is just gonna.
No.
I don't think he's gonna be cool with that. I've never been a Black Court vampire guy, but I gotta say Dracul is pretty interesting.
Cool.
So I am interested to see how that goes. I've always enjoyed the White Court
Oh
vampires
yeah.
because I think they're the most interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am excited and interested to see where that goes for sure. I don't know a ton about what Mirror Mirror is other than its alternate universe type of stuff, but I
Oh.
don't know who it's going to feature, who's in it. I don't know anything beyond that. So I think a lot of like Harry interacting with his alternate Harry, the evil Harry or whatever, subconsciously. I
Goatee
think some of
Harry.
that, yeah, goatee Harry. Some of that is going to lead, I think, into Mirror Mirror. But I don't like. I'm ready for some Denarians again, but I don't know when they're coming back. I got to believe they're coming back in the next book or two, also. But I could be wrong.
And that's one of the joys of the series is like Butcher has all these options. It's
Yes.
curious to see where it goes. And I mean, because we barely even had anything with. I mean, we had Ramirez and we had some of the Wardens, but that's still a thing going on. How he's no longer white, part of the White Council and all of that. So I mean, you got that hanging. I do like just back to just briefly mentioned Thomas. I was glad that they had a reconciliation before the end of this book.
Yeah, that was.
I would have hated kind of letting that one linger.
Yeah.
You understood how Thomas felt, and he needed time, just like Harry needed time in this whole book. So,
I think that.
Maybe
I think that is the pattern.
Ian's onto something. Look at that.
No, I do think that is the pattern. So I hadn't counted it out, but I knew it was every so often. So
do we know how many books does he have an end game?
Yeah. So the last I heard, it was going to be 25 total with a trilogy at the end. So a trilogy to cap
25
everything off.
plus a trilogy or 22 plus a trilogy?
Inclusive of the trilogy. There'd be 25 total, I think, is the last that I saw. It was interesting, and this might be an apocryphal story, I don't know, but what I heard was when he was taking his writing class, when he was trying to get published, his teacher told him, bring me back an outline for your story, and instead of bringing back an outline for Stormfront, he brought back an outline for a 25 book series. So like that's just the level of craziness that Butcher has.
Hey, at least he has a plan.
There's definitely a plan. It is interesting. I don't know if Loco is still in here or not, but he mentioned the stakes might just be getting too high at this point. Like it feels like a toppling house to him. Like it just keeps stacking and stacking, which I love. Yeah. But I can understand. Like I can't imagine juggling what he's juggling right now. Like it just seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot of lose-lose situations coming up where he's going to have to just pick the lesser of two evils to try to like keep the world up. Like I get that. Especially when you think back to where this started, where there were this was an episodic case files, and of course there was a story building, but it was just kind of like, oh, these are my palate cleansers. I'm gonna pull one out when I feel like it. And Harry's so funny, and there's a crazy, there's still toot in the pizza fairies, but there's also like it's this massive story with this incredible world building and so much scope. It's one of those series that is the very definition of like trust the process. Yeah. And when you're trying to sell it to someone, you're like, listen, I know I'm about to tell you the words 25 books. Don't leave. And the only thing is I obviously there are arcs. Like there are
Mhm.
like the first bundle of books feel like this, then the middle, and now we're in this new era of Harry. I do kind of wish that it was written more in like actual structured arcs, kind of like Realm of
Mhm.
the Elderlings or something, so that you
Yep.
could,
Yeah.
when you're recommending it to people, you could be like, okay, there's 25 books, but first you read these 6, and then there's a good stopping point. And I wish it was structured a little more like that, but it's not. But it is what it is.
You're right,
Yeah,
though. It,
that's
it kind of is. I mean, there are kind of built in, sub arcs because,
Natural stopping point. Yeah.
like Changes feels like a stopping point. Battleground
mhm.
feels like a stopping point. And probably even earlier in the series, I mean, Deadbeat could be kind of a stopping ground. So, yeah, so
Yeah.
he's kind of doing that, just not as formally.
Not as formally.
I've talked to people that say Deadbeat is a good starting place, actually, and I
I've
can
heard that too, and
understand.
that breaks my brain.
I
But
I, I
I'd be
don't like
interested
it,
to maybe if I reread just for fun, I'll read Deadbeats first just to see what it feels like,
yeah,
and then I'll
I've
still
I've
go back.
heard people say start with Grave Peril,
which I
which I
again
can
I
I
can
can see that one
understand
because
that.
the first 2 books are some of the weakest,
I
and
don't I don't like any of it as the publication order guy, but I understand these natural starting points. And Deadbeat was kind of its own thing because it was the first hardcover. It was in a lot of ways it was kind of a new direction. It was my 5th favorite until it just got dethroned. I love Deadbeat so much.
oh, it's
Um,
great. Yeah, that's the first one I
I
Rereading
love
truly
it.
a
love.
Butters book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish there was more Butters in this one, but I think Butters will be coming soon enough, so that's all right. He got beat up pretty bad in Battleground and so forth, so he's
Yeah, we got
got some
glimpses,
healing
and
to
we
do.
saw Sonya briefly.
Yeah, I always want more Sonya. Sonya's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
The carpenter that I wanted that I didn't get was Charity. I always
Charity,
want more
yeah,
Charity. She's probably my like I love Michael, but I don't know what it is about Charity, but I've always been a huge fan. So
huge fan. Yep.
Yeah, I think all the Carpenters are awesome. I mean, Michael's probably my favorite character in the series, but
he's a guy to root for
yeah,
sure.
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, Daniel was really good here,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Daniel
yeah,
becoming a real character. I like that a lot.
yeah.
I enjoyed seeing Father Fordhill having some good stuff in this book. That was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, before I forget, my favorite
Yeah.
part of the entire book was Molly glamoring herself to look like Liv Tyler playing Arwen. Oh, it was too much for me. I was like, not the hottest character, glamoring herself to look like the hottest actress playing the hottest character in another thing I love. Oh, it was too much. And also Galadriel Lara, like it was. I loved that whole scene.
I
I
had
was
forgotten
like,
about that, but that's
Harry
so
is going
great.
to
You're right.
explode.
Well, I
That's
think it just
Butcher
shows that
just
Jim Butcher's
doing
a
dirt.
fantasy. He's a fantasy
Oh, he's a
geek like the rest
nerd,
of
and
us.
he knows what we like.
It's part of the reason I love Changes so much is all the Lord of the Rings talk. And when he's telling Harry, "You're really Sam. You're really the hero of the story." Like all that stuff's really good. Loco is correct here.
It's
So
true.
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
the type of progression I like in fantasy, where you could see the character powering up over time, but it's not. There's no number system. There's no nothing feels off. It doesn't feel like a game. It's
Yeah.
the character making real choices. There's real consequences. They can go down a couple different roads. Sometimes they go down one that's you worry about, but that's all right.
Yeah,
So
and I
that's what I
think it's
really like.
important for Harry's sake, as you watch him, I think it's important to meet Susan in book one,
Mhm.
so that you can really see what their relationship was actually like.
yeah.
Because again, it's not your picture perfect,
Yep.
mom and dad, boyfriend, girlfriend. Like it's important to understand what their relationship actually was. And I think getting her from book one is important. So again, I would
Yep.
never suggest that somebody left around, but I would be
Same.
interested when because I'm thinking Dresden reread 2027, because I'm really trying to
Nice.
rein in my rereads this year,
I
because if
hear
I don't
that.
keep myself in check, then I just get addicted to rereading. So I'm trying to rein it in a little bit this year, but I think I could see myself doing a full reread in 2027. That would be a blast. So maybe this year, just randomly, I'll just read Death Masks and pretend like I don't know anything else and kind of see how it goes.
This is a great point here by Ian Little Harry, who is introduced as a baby crawling around on Big Harry. So now Harry Carpenter is becoming a kid and
A little big boy.
hanging out with Maggie and being sort of a big brother to her. And yeah, that's really good. That's a great point.
Speaking of good boy, I love how Mouse is reading books now.
Yeah. Mouse is the best. You gotta love Mouse. Yeah, that is very true. Ian makes a good point there. Again, I would never suggest anyone skips books. That is antithetical to what I believe in. But I have heard the suggestions.
I liked Carlos in this book.
Yeah, we haven't talked a whole lot about Rodriguez, but we can. So
I was surprised by how much page time he got.
It's good to see. Yeah,
and I liked seeing he had a bit of a progression too, because he was still. Was it in Peace Talks that Harry kind of tricked him, and you could tell that he had through the whole time was just still dealing with that. It's obvious the character deep down knows that Harry's not going to be doing black magic and all that stuff.
Yes,
but you could tell that he's also hurt by that betrayal. Sure. So I loved seeing him just kind of gradually kind of come back to, being copacetic with Harry by the end. The new Morgan, I forget her name, but I definitely like that dynamic. and I liked how Harry just put his foot down. I was just like, this isn't going to happen. And
my castle.
I've always liked Ramirez. I think he's a really great character. So it is going to be interesting going forward, because again, there's like we've been talking about, there's all these stones that are unturned, and one of these is this we really haven't dealt with, except for a couple scenes in this book, how Harry's kicked out of the White Council. I mean, there's like what's going to go on with the Merlin and like all those other characters that we knew that were, at various points allied with Harry or against Harry. I mean, that's going to be really, really interesting going forward.
Yeah. I think that's another tightrope that Rodriguez has to walk here, is that many in the White Council see Harry as Darth Vader at this point, whether that's correct or not. So he has to sort of walk that fine line if he's going to try and buddy up to him. So it should be very interesting.
Yeah,
I want to see some more Merlin on my page, that's for sure.
So that's such a frustrating plot line to me, because and not just here, anytime there's a plot line like that in the book where it's basically like, listen, you're the good guys, I'm a good guy, leave me alone. Like, this isn't a letter of the law thing. Like, why are we wasting time on good guys opposing good guys? Like, I don't know, it's just frustrating because it seems like a waste of resources, waste of energy.
So welcome, 85 Dresden. This is good to see. So this
is a good handle.
Someone that we're talking about here that picked up Deadbeat and Proven Guilty first before anything else. So that's cool. And we've got a Borders
Hop
reference.
On, tell us how it was.
I am excited anytime anybody remembers Borders. So that's good. I miss Borders. That was my favorite bookstore for a long time.
Yes,
absolutely.
Borders.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have a Walden Books, or is that like kind of?
Oh yes, yeah. I had one in.
That's
where I bought all my stuff as a kid. We had one in our mall.
We had one in our mall, and I would go in there and I'd sit on the floor, and I would. My mom would drop me off.
Fantasy was in the back left corner of the walled books. You'd go all the way back, but it was all back there. And yeah.
I love that book place.
Expecting a scene about Fitz at the end since Carlos kept coming around. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they're hiding it well enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or maybe Carlos is fine with it because, in some ways Harry mentored him when he was coming into his powers and stuff. So
yeah,
hard to say. Did anyone else think the new Morgan was perving on Harry a bit? Maybe. I don't know.
I didn't pick up on that.
I'd have to read it again with that in mind to see if I picked up on it.
I didn't think to call her New Morgan, but that's a pretty
I
funny
like
moniker.
that
That
though. I can't
Yeah.
remember
makes
her
me
real
happy.
name, so that's
I
now
can't
the
remember her
name.
name, but I remember the
New
character.
Yeah. I want to see more of Bear, that's for sure. That
Oh
was
yeah,
a character that came out of nowhere
she's awesome.
in book 18 of a long-standing series. I didn't think he
Right.
could introduce someone new that I cared about,
But like
but he
instantly,
does it
within
again.
like a page, I was like, I'm in. Like, I
Yeah,
love her.
yeah,
And of course the gargoyles. Like, and it's just like only Jim Butcher, only in a Dresden book, could you just keep on adding more and more like obscure characters that could be so easily corny or cheesy or silly. And it's
yeah,
just like instantly I'm like, nope, it's real, it's cool, and it's badass, and we like it.
I think that's one of the appeals of the series to me is that he's so steeped in lore of everything, whether it's
yeah,
old Gaelic Irish lore or whether
Hmm.
it's, whatever it is, he has read and heard about it and knows a lot about it, mythology and
Yes.
lore. And he
yeah,
just throws it in because it's interesting to him,
That's
which
how
is
you get
really
away
cool.
with Santa Claus being a character in a book and not being silly.
yeah.
Because he's
Right.
like, no, 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 I'm not talking about the guy with the velvet suit. I'm talking about like the lore behind Santa Claus, like the real saint. I love
Yeah.
it.
They actually spell it Bear in the book as well, loco.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
it's short for something else. And I think, I'm not sure, I'd have to go back and look, but I think she's actually introduced in one of the Cold Days stories, which I didn't pick up
Hmm.
on, but somebody else did, so I need to go back and verify that.
Mm.
Yeah, powered it up in a few different ways. It's just so interesting to see him using the winter mantle in interesting and new ways. That's a lot of fun for me. And Cold Days is, I just love Cold Days like that.
Mm.
When I did my reread, I loved it even more, and it's always been one of my favorite books since release. So
Speaking of Harry powering up, one thing I picked up on in this book was, so I don't remember at what point in the series it was, but Murphy told him that she's like, I don't care if you can shoot fireballs. You need to get in shape. You need to be able to run. You need to be able to fight hand on hand. In this series, we love it, but magic has a cost. It takes something from Harry. He's not always able to use his magic. And she was a strong influence on him getting in shape. And so much of this book was spent in the gym
Yeah.
because you need a physical outlet when everything in your world is crashing around you. And he poured himself into the gym. And I just can't help but think about how much like that was helping him with his Murphy grief, because
yeah,
that's where they worked together, was in the gym. And I was just like,
that's a good
oh,
point.
he's I mean, so he's getting healthy, he's getting stronger, he's getting better, but he's also like taking care of his mental health and like processing his, he's missing Murphy, and so he goes to the gym because that's where they were together. I don't know, I like that a lot. I'm just like,
That's good.
oh.
Jan, I believe that's correct. That
Yeah.
looks right to me.
I don't think they mentioned Brunhilde because I probably would have picked up on
Pew pew.
that. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh yeah,
I
Fitz. Pew pew.
That
Yeah.
I cracked up. He's like, well, why
so I,
not pew pew? And I'm like, that
Yeah.
is a good question. Why not pew pew? I was
I
hoping they'd
like
keep it, because how funny would it be for the next several books if you had a character that was like pew pew in the background of fights?
I really like when Harry is teaching Fitz because he can get into some of the finer details of magic. It's another one of the reasons I really love Ghost Story, where he's talking about learning magic for the first time. So that whole idea that they should be nonsense words because it can, break your brain if it's the real words for things, like all that stuff I really, really like.
Hmm.
It's not a hard magic system in the classical sense, but there are rules
There are
that govern
rules.
it, and it's good to see them kind of, layering into the
Uh
story,
oh.
which I really like.
Scott,
All
where'd you
right.
go?
And I've always
Oh,
enjoyed Harry as a mentor
Yeah.
as well. So that was a nice. Again, it's just like all these little elements of the story helped him heal. Being able to put so much into Fitz's education, added to it.
I think I agree with that. And I think in several books, we're going to have Maggie developing powers and Harry trying to convince her this isn't the route you or the road you want to take. So I am very excited to see when she starts to develop her magical power. She's got the line. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what happens from there. So I really like Maggie as a character. She's great. So
She's so smart and perceptive, but she still is written like a child. Sometimes authors write kids, and I'm like, you don't have kids, do you? But she still feels like a real child. And I love that she has been so, like, it's like, I know that she needed to come home with Harry. Like, she needs to be with her dad. But I love that she also has that foundation of being raised by the Carpenters. So she's had siblings. She's had, this, even though Michael and Charity were never her parents, and she knows that. Able to be to have that modeled for her is going to be really important for what type of grown up she turns into. So I'm excited, and honestly, I am kind of hoping for a bit of a time skip so that because Harry's going to he's got a long life to live, so we've got a lot of time with Harry. But I would like to see some of these younger characters developed as well.
Yeah, I get the sense Harry is around my age, around 50-ish right now. And we know that wizards can live well into their hundreds. So I think time skips are pretty inevitable. It'd just be a matter of when that happens.
That's one of the biggest reasons that I initially figured that Murphy wouldn't make it through the series.
That's fair.
Just because of how long-lived wizards are, that at some point, that he would kill her off rather than, young Harry married to 80-year-old Murphy,
Right.
Didn't see that being part of a storyline that would, fit the series.
Yep. All right. Any last, well, I guess we can keep going as long as you two have time, but probably can start to wrap things up a little bit. What are you looking forward to in the next few novels? Have you thought about it at all? Is there anything that excites you going forward about the series that we haven't talked about, or maybe to add on to what we have?
I think for me, just the first of all, just I have no idea the direction because, like we've talked about, there's so many different areas he can go. He can go back to the Denarians. What's going on with Dracul? What's the Starborn thing? We haven't explored any of that yet. We still have the Outsiders that are looming. Maybe we follow Thomas doing something, because he has a child out there now. Who knows? And it could be something totally different where Mab just says, hey, you got to do this in this book. And that's what happens,
Sure.
So for me, that's part of the joy is just, where's he going to take us? Because I think all three of us at this point, I think we just trust him that he's gonna take us where we need to go, and it's gonna be something interesting. And so I'm here for wherever he takes it. Really.
Yeah. I think that's part of the charm of the series is that you cannot guess what's going to happen next, and if you try to do that, then you're going to be wrong. So, like someone mentioned earlier in the comments, like there definitely is a pattern. So it's nice to know that it's going to be, we know what to expect to a point. But at the same time, I have full faith that he's going to just continue to surprise me and take crazy left turns I didn't see coming. But I'm with Ian. I'm excited for a wedding. I really enjoyed the progression and the growth with Lara. And I don't know if it was just us getting to know her better, but I think Harry is a good influence on her. And she's learning to get in touch with her human side. And I think she actually likes Harry more than she thought she would. And I don't think it's going to turn into some great romance or anything, but I think they could be a good team. And I think they're getting to the point by the end of this book that they respect each other. And I am interested to see where that whole dynamic is going to go.
Yep.
Like I said, hopefully some time jumps with little baby Maggie being a cool wizard someday, but that's in the future.
Yeah, and the White Court vampires can live pretty long as well, so potentially that would be a good match anyway. Lara was always kind of a just sociopathic succubus to me. I thought she was interesting, she was cool, but she didn't do much for me, and I agree with Ian here that I didn't. The betrothal was like, okay, I don't I don't know what to do with that, but I think it was developed very nicely
in this
throughout the
book.
book.
Yeah. Mhm. Oh,
Um,
speaking of succubus, the whole parasite concept with the
mhm.
white court,
That was interesting.
it was
Yeah.
very interesting. I didn't see that
Yeah.
coming, but I was just like, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hunger being an outsider is not something I would have been able to piece together. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
actually very cool. And him kind of solving it in some ways for Lara is also really cool. So I like that. So this is interesting from Zen about the theory that Murphy may come back as a Valkyrie. I don't know enough about Valkyries, I'll be honest. So I don't know if they are supposed to have been resurrected beings or what they are. Um,
The
but
spirits of great warriors, I think, but still, like you said,
sounds
there
right.
might be like a fundamental like core values thing there because
Hmm.
Valkyries, that doesn't line up with Catholic afterlife beliefs, but it's
Yeah.
cool
I
though.
know it is mentioned that she is hanging out in Valhalla. Like they do say that
Mm,
in Battleground when he talks to the other Valkyrie, whose name I can't remember right now, but who's awesome.
Guard.
Guard, thank you.
Guard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guard mentions that she is a great warrior who has earned her place in Valhalla. So it's possible.
That'd
But
be a cool element.
yeah,
That'd be
I'm
interesting.
I'm I'm on board because I typically don't like resurrections in my fiction, but when the writer can do it well, I'm on board. So
Sure.
um,
I mean, Harry was basically resurrected, and we like him, so.
True.
that was a cool line.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
that was a really cool line.
Put her
Would
in
you
her
start a
place.
war over six
Yeah.
lives? Yeah, I did it over one. That's
He's like, you have no idea who I am. Let's be clear.
yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
yeah, good stuff. I don't know where things are going either. I do once again have some reservations because my understanding is this book is supposed to be about alternate universes and stuff, which typically I don't like very much in fiction because they tend to be either get out of jail free cards or other types of things that bother me. But I have enough faith in Jim's skill and his ability to navigate it that I think it'll be good. So
Sure.
um, should be interesting. Well, I think we will stop there. I appreciate both of you for taking time out to talk through it. I had a great time reading the book, and I had almost as much fun talking with the two of you. So, thanks
Same.
for spending some of your Sunday with me. That was really good.
Thanks for having me. That was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thanks to our wonderful audience that hung out with us and commented along the way. We appreciate it. Until next time, publication order always, my friends.